My country people. Yes, them go talk. Them just the parambulate. So story heavy. Nepa no bring light, Generator whatever, yeah. Plenty greedy man for jail, yeah. Take a project, forget it, man, forget about the big things, say make you talk about the small things, so. Forget about the big things, so. Say make you talk about the small things, so yeah.
With a time at 11:32, I bid you welcome to this morning's episode of Power Solutions. Yes, you heard techno, that piece of music saying Nepa no bring light, Nepa no bring light. And that's exactly what every Nigerian can relate to. And that's why today on Power Solutions in our continuum, to bring the best of solutions as far as the power situation is concerned in Nigeria and by extension Africa, we have yet another guest and another topic to look at. I'll tell you what the topic is. Wiebe, who's my co-host, will tell you who the guest is. After all, it's one-on-one. You know, I do my part, he does his. If he doesn't, well, that's his business. But I'll tell you, today on the show, we'll be looking at building the future energy system in Nigeria. But first, let me say, Wiebe, good morning to you. Good to see you. How's the weekend, by the way? You look, let me look at.
Good morning, Collins. Yeah, the weekend was amazing. I don't know if you followed it, but the football was crazy. Some of the results, I mean, Man United, Liverpool getting totally thrashed.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on, but it was lovely to see, and of course Arsenal won, so everything's good.
How could I have missed that? I know you'll be happy with that, but how could I have missed the fact that some clubs decided to spoil some tickets? If you know what I mean, just saying.
Yeah.
But I know you'll be smiling because I mean, you said in your last statement, the Arsenal. Yeah. It's just a game, you know. It's just a game, Wiebe. It's just one match, you know. And you know, you can start a show with that.
Yeah, I know. This isn't Femi and the gang. So anyway, but look, let's jump into the conversation today. We have a guest from all the way from Toronto, Canada. I think it's the first time we have a guest from Canada. So thank you for coming on, getting up so early. So it's Mr. Mir Islam. He's the CEO of M1 Energy Solutions. So welcome on the show this morning. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction, Webb. And Collins, it's great to be here today.
Good to have you.
My name, Thank you.
So look, let me just jump right in with the first question. So give us a bit about your background, both your professional background and how you ended up in the energy space.
Well, thank you very much. I am the founder and CEO of M1 Energy Solutions. We're a Canadian-Nigerian engineering, technology, and consulting firm that have been working on the front line of Africa's power sector for over 10 years, delivering sustainable energy solutions and smart electricity infrastructure. I spent my childhood living in Nigeria, witnessing firsthand how inadequate infrastructure and limited access to power restricts economic growth and development. My father worked for the Nigerian government for over 15 years in infrastructure development in the early stages of Abuja when the city was being built in the 80s. And then I did my primary and secondary education, and then studied electronics engineering also at the University of Nigeria at Nsukka. Early in my career, I was involved with rural electrification and power distribution and transmission project. When I did my MBA in Canada around 2007, the program and school I attended was very focused on sustainability and particularly the impact that renewable energy played in modern economy. I then founded M1 in 2009 with the goal of leveraging technology to bridge the energy access gap with sustainable energy. For me, really, I've always felt Nigeria was home and wanted to play a part in the development of this country.
Welcome home to Nigeria Info. More to add that. Thank you. Well, quite inspiring story. Now, you spent the last 20 years working on the front lines of Africa's power and renewable, sector. What has motivated your entrepreneurship journey over these 20 years?
I began my entrepreneurship journey and M1 with a social mission to provide affordable and accessible power to rural communities across Africa. And with 7 out of 10 people throughout sub-Saharan Africa still unable to access renewable electricity, reliable electricity, this goal continues to drive myself and M1 forward. Our fundamental belief is that everyone deserves affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy. Today, M1 continues to bring sustainable power to rural and urban communities while also helping clients of all sizes in Africa and to increase efficiency, reduce energy losses, leverage clean technology, and develop new innovative energy solutions. So the motivation that originally inspired me to begin my entrepreneurship journey hasn't changed. And this is reflected in everything I do personally and every project M1 takes on.
Interesting.
So Mir, let's actually jump to EM1. So it's M1 or EM1, and what does the name mean? Where did that name come from? And I guess you started it 10 years ago. Is it only focused on Nigeria, or is it broader beyond Nigeria as well?
It's M1 Energy Solutions,
Okay.
and we've been working with, Nigeria is the largest market in Africa, 200 million people, lots of challenge, a place I call home. So that's our major focus, but we have been working on projects, development across other African countries too. So, but the real focus is let's develop home first.
Mm-hmm.
And you did ask the question about M1, it's always with the E for energy. So
Okay.
I think that's the main driver here. And we want to definitely be a number one provider of world-class solutions.
Well, quite inspiring again. That is, if you are just joining us, Still Power Solutions, Nigeria's number one for talk, 99.3 Nigeria Info. You just heard the voice of the CEO and of M1, and of course, you just talked about the company. Let's get to talk a bit more about the fact that you are focused on solving 3 energy-related challenges across the African continent. What are these 3 focus areas? And from your experience, which of these challenges affects Nigeria the most? Because, they try to find the solution to the power problem in Nigeria has been a major discourse. Let me put it that way in the country for many years now. So, how would you respond to that 2 parts of one question?
At M1, we focus on solving 3 energy-related challenges. Firstly, the lack of universal energy access. Today, nearly 600 million people in sub-Saharan Africa are without access to electricity. This energy gap starkly impacts essential social service like healthcare. As intensified by the recent global pandemic, Africa's health sector is unable to serve millions because of the lack of reliable power. Across the continent, 3 out of 4 primary health clinics do not have the stable supply of energy they need to power the most basic primary health care. Secondly, address the challenge of achieving sustainable industrialization and economic growth by leapfrogging past fossil fuel-based technologies to power the continent sustainably. Finally, climate change. We know that bridging the energy access gap and powering the modern world will not look like it did 100 years ago. It's simply impossible to power our modern economy, connect the over 2 billion people across the world who, depending on the definition, remain unelectrified, and also meet the energy demand of our future generation without a transformative shift in the energy sector. Sustainable energy and green infrastructure will have a massive role to play in Africa. And in Africa, sustainable infrastructure, renewable energy solution, and the digitalization transformation provide a roadmap for the development that is inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. All these challenges are being addressed also in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goal and Vision 2030. Your last question here, while trying to understand which challenges affect Nigeria the most, I believe they're all interrelated, and they all have to do with addressing the energy access problem and how this has affected different sectors in specific ways. So I really say they're all very important, and we have a lot to do here.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us, M1 has designed and installed over 12 megawatts of solar mini grids across Nigeria at nearly 300 sites. So that's a massive undertaking. Tell us a bit about that and maybe some of the really key projects that you executed, and then maybe just a little bit about some of the impact you've seen, like the real life, stories you've seen, how this solar power, what it means for businesses, for people, that kind of thing.
Okay. Thank you. M1 focuses on developing and delivering turnkey energy solutions with objective to build towards the grid of the future in Africa. Our solutions are solar microgrids, smart electricity infrastructure, and energy consulting. So, the 12 megawatt systems in nearly 300 sites have been microgrids. And just to give you a background, microgrids are electricity distribution system containing loads and distributed generation that can be operated in a controlled, coordinated way, either while connected to the main power grid, islanded, or fully off-grid. The value proposition for microgrid is reliability, cost, and energy efficiency, and sustainability. They also help to facilitate the integration of renewable energy. The 292 systems are modular microgrid systems and are standardized and scalable. Another exciting project, which some of you listeners in Abuja might have seen, is our advanced microgrid project that has a 1.5 megawatt PV, 2.3 megawatt hour energy storage with advanced control capabilities that will power the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing in Mabushi. The flagship project is one of the major government investment in renewable energy infrastructure, and where we are going above and beyond in delivering a world-class solution that proves that renewable energy makes a viable business case for commercial centers in Nigeria. In this project, we are testing many exciting ideas, including digitalization with AI and emerging technologies. We have incorporated sustainability throughout the construction of the project, mitigating and offsetting the negative environmental impact of construction, and have used the project to build local capacity on microgrid, including a female STEM internship program. The Mabushi microgrid project is really exciting because it's the first step really for us to prove the case that the future energy system in Nigeria really relies on capitalizing on the two major trends that are driving the world's energy transformation: digitalization and decentralization. So we also work in the smart electricity infrastructure, which is really focused on modernizing the current grid and working to achieve what we call the smart grid. In that, we're working closely with distribution companies and our technology partners. Finally, I think the energy consulting, it's part of what we do because we know that it's Nigeria, the renewable energy still is in early stage. There's a lot of problems to solve. And we are currently working on consulting assignment focused on scaling commercially viable renewable energy microgrids and using data-driven analytics to achieve techno-commercial viable microgrid business models to energize the healthcare facilities. As I mentioned, healthcare is really one of our key focus.
All right, you just mentioned something that there are many problems with. Could you identify some of those challenges before I get to ask you to break down a couple of things for me? Could you identify some of those problems, challenges regarding achieving renewable energy at its best in Nigeria?
Well, in Nigeria, renewable energy is still at an early stage, and it's being adopted step by step.
Right.
First, the challenges is, of course, access to financing. If we want to make it commercially viable, it has to have a business case, right? But then to build a business case, you have to look at across the value chain and look at every part that needs to be improved or tweaked or totally replaced. So whether it is financing, localization of manufacturing, capacity building, there are quite a lot of things we have to work on.
All right. So quickly, I heard of before Wiebe comes in, the modular microgrids and advanced microgrids. Could you break this down for my listener? And what are they and what do they do? You would also like to share with us some of the projects that M1 has executed or deployed using these microgrids.
No, thank you. I mean, there's always this clarity required, and I don't want to be too, technical.
Yeah.
But our modular microgrid are standardized, modular, scalable, and addresses electricity needs of rural communities, small CNI, and health and education facilities. They're usually under 1 megawatt and either containerized or skid mount for quick deployment. So the real focus is get them quickly to the site, get them working, and you could do hundreds of sites in a small time.
Wow.
And because they're standardized, you're reducing a lot of upfront costs, and they're plug and play, so it makes it even easier. A major portion of our work has have been on a modular microgrid offering on powering healthcare. As it stands, nearly 50% of the primary health centers, which are frontline health services for Nigeria, are connected to the grid, but only have 4 to 5 hours of grid power a day. So you need quick response and, systems that can be tested fully in a factory environment before deployed to those remote sites. Our advanced microgrid solutions are for large applications. So, big building, urban communities, campuses, government building, and are typically from 500 kilowatt to 20 megawatt. They're grid integrated and have advanced microgrid and software controls that can manage and dispatch different loads and distributed energy resources. We've seen that advanced microgrid are leading the charge in terms of renewable energy projects in North America. The projects in Nigeria that currently exist have not yet proven the business case.
Okay.
However, as mentioned, we are working on a flagship project for the Nigeria's Ministry of Works and Housing to develop a scalable business case.
Right.
And to achieve this, we have invested heavily in the design and innovation, working to standardize the solution with Tesla, Schneider Electric, and a Canadian engineering firm, Teke. This partnership has really helped us to define the blueprint for our advanced microgrid solution and reinforce our competence in renewable and smart electricity infrastructure.
So thanks, Samir. So let's go on to the next question. So under the Solar Nigeria program, your company installed or deployed nearly 300 systems to health and education facilities across Nigeria. Can you tell us about this project? It sounds amazing.
Thank you. Under the Solar Nigeria program, we have completed turnkey delivery of 292 solar modular microgrids and 16 advanced microgrid in the health and education sector using technologies from companies like Tesla and Schneider Electric. These projects have been funded by European Union and UK aid and fully supported by the federal and state government of Nigeria. Through S&P, M1 has been working at the nexus of energy and health for the past 5 years, and we've been able to take a lot of the lessons learned from the first project, which was the Lagos Solar project, which had 213 systems for health and education. So we were able to adapt the containerization and the modularity from that project to the next, which was then in Kaduna in 2016, and then eventually in Borno, Adamawa, Kano, and Kaduna. So I think there've been a lot of lessons learned, and we realized we're solving the problem of the unreliable electricity for health and education by leapfrogging the traditional centralized grid infrastructure and instead deploying a decentralized solar microgrid solutions. So for us, it's not just taking solutions that have worked somewhere else, but taking them and adapting it and building it over the last 5-10 years, and then using that to inform how we provide value to our clients. Right. One thing I have to mention. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that this is all possible because we developed a lot of the integration. We built our local capacity to be able to deliver. A lot of training goes on, and we've been able to do that also with our M-Box, which is a solar microgrid design. It's containerized, designed to be modular, and they could be quickly deployed. And we are doing much of the integration here in Nigeria.
So how do you think that the sector has fared in Nigeria, and what are your projections for the next 10 years?
The power sector has really had a remarkable improvement, even though some might say slow, since the privatization of the distribution and generation asset in 2013. I mean, with the privatization, distribution and generation has seen private sector involvement and have opened up opportunity for modernization and opportunity also for decentralized energy systems. In our finding, distributed energy system and digitalization are the way forward to transform the energy value chain and achieve universal electricity in Nigeria. These are the lessons we can learn and apply immediately from the global energy transition. I'm extremely optimistic and excited about what the future holds for the development. We can in Nigeria, we can see the lessons from the energy transition in developed countries like Europe and North America, that this innovation and accessibility for us has given us an opportunity to leapfrog like the landline telephone to wireless and close the development gap. We, being a 200 million plus populated country, what we mean, when we say we want to scale up, deployment of renewable is not just having few companies deploying projects, but we need thousands of company entrepreneurs working on different size projects. There's a market for smaller systems, enabling these players by having equipment on ground, shortening the supply chain. We have a lot to do, but I think it's a teamwork here. And
so you've worked with government. You talked about some projects at the state level. You've talked about the federal government project you're working on in Abuja. So what is the role of both technology and these kinds of public-private partnerships to modernize the power sector in Nigeria?
The public and the private sector can really work synergistically to accelerate energy transition in Nigeria and also develop the regional innovation capabilities and leverage the amazing talents and educated population we already have within our country. The government can provide enabling policies, access to single-digit financing, legal protection, and sovereign guarantees for long-term investors. Because when we talk about infrastructure, they require very long-term investment, which sometimes can be challenging unless the government provides all the support. The private sector can bring in technology and efficient project delivery expertise. Some other areas that I see a lot of room for partnership would be securing our supply chain, enabling economies of scale, and encouraging more players to deploy sustainable energy projects, which is key to scaling up and meeting the energy demand gap. Mobilizing many players is essential. One of the best way to do that is by developing manufacturing capacity, which will benefit the robustness of the Nigerian supply chain, create jobs, and develop our regional expertise to address our own energy future. So a lot of this M1 have been working on with the support of government, with donors, and our technology partners. But I think we've always prioritized capacity building and leading the field with innovation. We have a microgrid lab in Abuja, and many of our team have received training from our partners, especially with Schneider, SMA, Tesla, The idea is you want to build a very capable team in Nigeria. That's really our goal. And we see the government, having a big role to play in supporting. I would really like to see Nigeria become the Silicon Valley and tech hub in Africa for energy sector.
I don't know what to say amen to that, or just do the shaker. So I had to do both of them. So we're going now, but I would like to know in 1 minute or less, has COVID-19 disrupted, your work? And what's the post-COVID plan for M1?
We had a major supply chain disruption due to the local and cross-border restriction. The immediate impact of COVID-19 was on the delivery of our projects that are currently under construction. For a period of time, our suppliers were unable to ship essential equipment, and we definitely felt delays for some of these projects. Thankfully, we're back on track. Additionally, new projects in the pipeline have been pushed back, due to the lack of funding and reduced access to credit. We also had challenge getting foreign exchange to import equipment and felt the impact of the devaluation of Nigeria. However, we are working to build, at the beyond the post-COVID-19. We are prioritizing our work on sustainable business model for modular microgrids for critical healthcare facilities such as hospital, isolation centers, and PHCs. We know this is important, and that's one of the areas we're working extensively on. We're also focusing on building robust supply chain with increased localization and digitalization of our supply chain management. We are localizing our modular microgrid integration factory and building the capacity of our local engineering and management staff. We have adopted a flexible working style with reliance more on digital and remote working tools. And finally, of course, implement and enforce policies for social distancing and hygienic interactions in our offices. This is key. We're still in a strange time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mir Islam, CEO of M1 Energy Solutions. Wiebe, take us home in seconds.
Oh, okay. So we're in a hurry. So Mir, thank you so much for coming on today. It's great, I think, for the listeners to hear that such a sophisticated company is playing such a big role in the Nigerian power sector. And also, thank you very much for coming back home and focusing on Nigeria, focusing all your energy and most of your investments and so on in Nigeria. So thank you very much for that. Thanks for getting up early and taking the time to join us. And we hope you have an absolutely wonderful week ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, everyone listening.
Thank you. Well, that's much we have. And next week, again, we have another time for Power Solutions. In the meantime, well, it's over. Get out. No, stay tuned. The news is coming up right after. And we'll have more programming right after that. My name is Collins Teke. And on this part, I've worked with Dr. Wiebe Boer.